Sunday. Thank you so much for joining today. How's everyone doing today? Let me just share this live. Okay. Hi, everyone. All right. Hey, Jovi. Thank you for coming today. How have you been? Aw, nice. Are you doing your daughter's hair? Busy but good. Aw. Nice. You know it. Yup. They putting you to work. Hey, at least it's better than spending a few $200-$300 to get their hair done somewhere else. Yup. Aw, but you do such a good job, so you kind of set yourself up for that one. You do? I love this necklace. It's so pretty. Aw. We have similar taste. Hey, Nika. Thank you for coming. I'm talking to Jovi on YouTube. She said she has the same necklace. Got it from the Northeast West store. Where is that? Is that in Pennsylvania? Or is it just online? My dad actually got this for me. I don't know where he got it from. Nika says hi, by the way. Thank you for sharing the live, Nika. I appreciate that. And thank you for liking. Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about celebrating. Thank you so much we're going to be talking about celebrating our small wins. And you know, I feel like we've talked about this before, but I think the context was a little bit different. We talked about celebrating our small wins in order to, you know, keep that fire going when we're trying to get our goals going, when we're trying to push forward, right? Hey, Elizabeth. Welcome. I love that little emoji. It's so cute. Jovi said at the mall, it's a spiritual shop they have in PA in New Jersey. Oh, that's cool. Hey, Orals. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I have not seen that movie, by the way. Right? Isn't it cute? Okay. So, you know, I'm wondering, the reason why I wanted to kind of hit this again is because this month is all about talking about gratitude and reflection, right? And part of that is really thinking and reflecting on the fact, do we celebrate ourselves? Are we stopping and pausing for enough time to like just pat ourselves on the back and say good job, right? Because we live busy lives. Everyone is busy nowadays, right? Whether it's, you know, you have a full-time job, whether it's you're a student and you work, or whether it's you have kids and a family, you know, or taking care of parents, you know, all of that requires so much energy. Hi, Edix. It requires so much energy and it requires so much effort that sometimes we don't notice how much we have to do. I don't sleep. Sorry, I don't understand that. But I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time that you actually celebrated yourself, right? Because a lot of times we like downplay our progress. We downplay how much we've accomplished and how far we've come, right? So a lot of times we think that because it's not something big, because it's not like this huge win that we have, it doesn't count. It's not worth celebrating, right? But those small wins is what helps us build like that real momentum for ourselves, not the big moments, right? Hey, PR Purple. I'm actually talking about reminding ourselves to celebrate our small wins. So sometimes, we get so caught up in life and we're so busy doing this, doing that, responsibilities, that we don't really stop and say to ourselves, oh, damn, you did a great job. Like, you got that A, or you got that job, or you woke up that morning when you didn't feel like going to school, or you woke up that morning and you went to work when you didn't feel like doing nothing, right? So those are the times where it's good to just pause and celebrate yourself. Nika in on TikTok said, "Funny story. I seen your reel about this on Instagram the other day, and I celebrated shortly after." Oh, yay! I love that. She said, "I decided to treat myself." Aw, thank you, Purple Box. I appreciate that. She said, "Good advice." Appreciate that. So last week we talked a little bit about gratitude, right, and being thankful and finding things in our lives that's going good when it just seems like sometimes everything's not going good, right? Thank you, Nika, so much for all the gifts and the rose, the popular, and the heart me. Appreciate that. That was really sweet. Thank you. Um, so last week we talked about doing a 7-day gratitude reset. So I'm wondering if anyone that was here last week, if there was anything that stood out to you when you really thought about something to be grateful for. Did something pop out at you? Was it difficult for you to think about? I would love to get some feedback on that. I know for me, I am grateful for the rest, because yesterday I was not feeling good and I literally just rested most of the day. And it was definitely needed. And now I feel like more refreshed. So I'm really grateful that I was able to get that rest in. Hey, Chi Chi. How are you doing? Thank you for sharing the live too. Nika said, yes, that's amazing. Rest is so important. And when I rest, I feel refreshed too. Yeah. It makes a difference. Elizabeth said, so I was touching the wall of my house saying thank you for everything. Oh, I love that. That's so cute. Kiara said, good. I'm addicted to my new Switch. Laugh out loud. I just bought a Disney game. Oh no. A monster has been born. No, those games are so addictive. But I'm so glad that you got a Switch. They look so much fun. I'm actually thinking about buying there's this like retro Game Boy looking thing that I've seen online a lot, and I'm thinking about getting that. So it looks really fun. It has like all the old school games, like Super Mario, Crash, Sonic, all that cool stuff. So I'll let y'all know when I get that. Okay, so today, oh, Elizabeth, you said you just sold it after 10 years. Oh, wow. Kiara said, get it, just be careful. You'll be playing a lot more than you think. Yeah. Yeah, I need to be careful because, yeah, I do love me some games. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about celebrating those small wins, of course. And I always break it down into certain parts. So part one, we're going to start off by talking about why celebration matters in the first place, right? Because at the end of the day, we know those big celebrations are so popular. Hi, Kaushal. Celebrating ourselves when big moments happen seems to be very easy for everyone. Like when you graduate, or when you get that job, or I'm thinking when you get married, when you have kids. Like these are big milestones, big like events in your life, right? So it's like pretty normal to celebrate. But when it comes to like those smaller things, it becomes almost like you start feeling guilty or selfish for celebrating yourself in those small moments. So I kind of want to rewrite that, and I want to explain why it matters to celebrate yourself in those moments. So celebration, it reinforces your identity. It reinforces the work that you put in, right? So every time that you acknowledge a win, whether it's big or small, it's like you're sending a signal to your brain, like, I'm someone who follows through and I'm someone who is constantly growing. So it's like not convincing yourself because it's already within you, but you're putting it at the front of your mind like, no, I'm someone who can do it. Like, I'm someone who's capable, I'm someone who's growing. And the more that I celebrate myself, whether it's big or small, I'm telling myself that I'm worthy, right? I'm reminding myself of why I can, right? So when you celebrate yourself, you're strengthening that identity, right? And the identity drives your behavior more than the motivation ever will. So again, when we rewrite that mindset and we start like expressing our celebration for ourselves and patting ourselves on the back, or buying that coffee in the morning, like treating yourself to like quiet time, right? Whether it's taking a bath that night, whether it's listening to your favorite song and drinking a little bit of wine, like whatever you do to celebrate yourself, because it doesn't need to be expensive, it doesn't need to be flashy, it's whatever works for you. So for example, Kiara has a new Nintendo Switch, right? So she could treat herself by playing for 30 minutes. She gonna have to set a timer, because if she don't set a timer, she gonna be there for 2 hours. So, but you know what I mean? So these are the small things that you can choose in your life, because for everyone, a celebration is different. For you, you might want to go get your favorite coffee. For someone else, they might want to go buy their favorite drink. You know, for someone else, they might just want quiet time. They might just want to zone out, put their headphones on and play some games or take a bath. So whatever that is for you, do that for yourself, right? Celebrate yourself. Give yourself that pat in the back. And then slowly, you're going to start rewriting that identity. And that's going to drive your behavior to change. It's going to give you more motivation than you've had before, right? Nika said, I'm someone who follows through and I'm someone who is constantly growing. I love that. Oh, thank you. She was quoting that. Appreciate that, Nika. So again, celebration, it helps rewire our brains to recognize the progress, right? So when our brains start recognizing all the progress that we've been doing, it stops focusing on our problems as much, right? Because when we don't celebrate and when we don't focus on like the positive things, what is our brain going to start doing? It's going to start focusing on the negatives. It's going to start focusing on the things that aren't going good. It's going to start focusing on the things that you're insecure about, right? Because we all got insecurities. So if I don't pat myself on the back for what I'm doing good, I'm going to start noticing the things that I lack. I'm going to start noticing the things that I didn't do, right? So for example, like I said earlier during this live, I wasn't feeling good yesterday. And yesterday is usually a day that I exercise. So if I would have focused on the negative, I could have been like, oh, great. Now you didn't meet your goal for exercising this week. Great job, right? But no, I told myself my body's telling me that I need to rest. So that's what I need to do, right? And now I feel good today. So if I wouldn't have listened to my body, if I wouldn't have, given myself that space to really rest, then today I might have felt worse. And then tomorrow might have been even worse, right? So you have to know when to stop and celebrate yourself, or when to give yourself that space and peace, right? So again, our brains are naturally wired with something that's called negative bias, right? Negativity bias. So that means that we tend to pay more attention to what's going wrong than what's going right. Because can anyone agree with that? That you have suffered from negativity bias, where sometimes you pay attention to what's going wrong, whether other than what's going right. I know I've been there before. Let me know in the comments. Kiara said me. Nika said yes. By the way, y'all, I'm live on TikTok and YouTube, so I'll be looking at both screens. Yeah, I've been there as well. It's very hard. It's very hard not to do that. It's like this survival mechanism that we have in our brains that's just like, no, we need to make sure that we know exactly what's going wrong, right? So again, this isn't something, there's nothing wrong with you. This is literally every human being. Like, we've all been there. It's not a personal flaw. This is just part of the human brain. So the only thing that we can do is try to rewire that, right? Do small little things, small little actions like celebrating ourselves can make a little bit of a difference for our brains to start noticing the good, right? So last week we talked about gratitude. The week before that we talked about reflection. So all these things together, if you reflect, if you talk about what you're grateful for, if you take that step back and celebrate yourself, those are all things that are going to remind you of the good things that are happening in your life and the good things that you have done, right? Not only the good things that are happening to you, but the good things that you've put in the work for, right? And it's good because it helps you offset those negative thoughts and those hard parts in life, right? So if we're not intentional, sometimes we'll overlook our progress and we'll start obsessing over what we think we're not doing enough of, right? How about anyone ever obsess about what you think you're not doing? Hello? Has anyone ever obsessed over that? I know I definitely have. But again, here's the thing, when you don't acknowledge your wins, progress becomes invisible. Nika said, here, present, yes. Mama said I keep procrastinating declutter. Oh, Mama, I need to do that. Declutter? Yes. I should put that on my calendar, like immediately. I need to get rid of so much stuff. But yeah, so, again, when you don't acknowledge your wins and you don't acknowledge, the small things of your progress, sometimes it just becomes invisible. You just think it doesn't exist and you don't see it, right? And again, when you have invisible progress, when you don't see the progress that you've made, it tends to kill your motivation. It tends to basically it makes you feel like, oh, well, there's no point because there's no progress. I'm not doing anything, right? So why keep trying? Because why would we keep going if it feels like nothing is happening, right? So again, when we circle back, celebration helps increase our confidence. It helps us get energy and it helps us feel more consistent, right? Because it builds that momentum. Because when you recognize it, when you recognize that change, you start reinforcing it. So now you're going to start making changes automatically to support that, right? So again, celebration, and this is something that I think is like a big misconception. Some people feel like if I celebrate myself, I'm being selfish. Or if I celebrate myself, I'm bragging. No, celebration is not about bragging. It's not about being selfish. It's about grounding yourself in the truth instead of self-criticism, right? So when you celebrate, it's like for a moment you're stopping and you're saying to yourself, you did that thing, right? So you're like grounding yourself in that truth that I got this, I'm worthy, I can do it, right? Instead of sitting back and saying, oh, well, I don't need to celebrate. What do I have to celebrate for? Because that's when the self-criticism comes in, right? So again, if celebrating your wins can help you build that self-trust and strengthen that identity within yourself, then the next part that we're going to talk about is how powerful the small wins really are, right? So part 2 is me sharing the compound, right? That compounded effect of small wins. Okay, now we know why the small wins are important, but what does it actually do for us, right? Why are they even worth it, right? So we know why it's important, and we're going to talk about the effect that it has on us. Do you guys have any questions so far? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for liking the live. I appreciate it. Oh, Nika, I just noticed that you sent this fest pop. That's so cute. All right, so no questions? Cool. All right, so the compound effect of small wins. That's part two. So again, growth isn't built from like these big dramatic moments, these big things, because at the end of the day, growth is like small baby steps at a time, right? These big things that happen in our lives, yes, they help us. Yes, they help motivate us, they help us grow, but they're very short-lived because those big moments don't happen all the time, right? Those big moments can happen maybe once a year or maybe every 5 years, right? Because when I think of big moments, I think of like big changes in people's lives, right? Like graduating college, graduating high school. I think of marriage. I think of engagements. I think of when you start having children, when you get a job, change of career. You know, these are like big moments in people's lives where I feel like, yes, that's like something that you naturally celebrate. But those moments don't last. Those moments happen, and then guess what? People forget about them and stop talking about it in like a week. You know what I mean? So the reason why these small wins, and I know I'm kind of backtracking, but I just want to solidify the fact that these small wins are like the everyday wins. These are like the weekly wins, the monthly wins, right? This is what's going to keep you going so you stay motivated, so you stay like positive, and you stay understanding like your growth and your worth, right? So, okay, sorry. I digressed. So, growth again isn't built from huge dramatic moments. It's built in these small actions that are repeated consistently, right? So, not the giant leaps once a year, like I said, but the tiny little steps that we take every day. So, every small win, again, is a vote for the person that you're becoming. It's like I said, it's those tiny steps that you take each and every day. It's those tiny moments that you refuse to give up. It's those tiny moments where you wanted to stay in bed, but you still got up, right? So even if the step is tiny, the shift that you're making is massive, right? Every time that you push forward is something that you're pushing yourself forward. Like that's a big deal. And again, what you celebrate, you repeat. So it's, you know, it's with kids, you know, you want to give them a sticker when they get a good grade on something. Or when, you know, this is why we associate celebration with like those big moments, right? We want those moments to happen. So we're like, oh, well, if you finish high school, you get to graduate and you get to go to this big thing. Your family's going to give you a car or whatever, right? It's like there's always some type of incentive behind celebrating yourself, right? So that's kind of what we're doing with those small wins. When you celebrate, you want to repeat that. So if you're celebrating something very small, your brain is like, oh, I love this. Can we do this again? Right? So the brain loves reward. And when something feels good, your brain wants more of it. So the behavior becomes a little bit easier and more natural and more frequent the more that you do it. Does that make sense? So for example, I know that if I have a goal in mind, um, I'm trying to think of a good, like easy, like my exercise goal. That's like my most recent goal that I've implemented for myself is to exercise 4 days a week. So I always treat myself like if I do it, I'll pat myself on the back, like I'll physically say you did that, and I'll look at myself in the mirror and I'll tell myself that, right? Um, oh, I just saw your comment, Mama. Okay, cool. Sorry. So yeah, so it's like those small moments. It doesn't need to be anything big or crazy. It could be as simple as patting yourself on the back and saying that, good job. And guess what? When I do that, I feel good. And then it makes me want to do it again the next week. And it makes me want to do it again the following week. So again, the brain loves the reward. So when something feels good, you're going to want to do it again, right? So why not start celebrating yourself? It's not going to hurt you. It's only going to help you, right? So that's how momentum is built. not through pressure, but through encouragement. We want to encourage ourselves. We want to cement that like positive feeling, that feel good feeling that we get when we celebrate ourselves. So when you track those small wins, momentum becomes natural instead of it feeling forced. So it's going to feel weird at first if you're not used to it. It's going to feel a little bit weird. Especially if you're looking at yourself in the mirror. Like the first time that I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, oh, you worked out 4 days, hey, and celebrated myself. I was like, oh my God, I hope no one sees me doing this. That's so embarrassing. But like, why? Right? And then the more that I did it, the more like expressive I got, and I would do like my little, like a little dance, celebrating myself. So, you can make it your own. Whatever works for you, whatever makes you feel good, whatever feels natural for you, do it that way. But I will say it does feel weird at first to celebrate yourself, especially if you're around other people. But again, when you track those small wins, momentum starts to become natural and it stops feeling forced. So you stop trying to push yourself through like exhaustion, and instead you fuel yourself up with confidence. So like I said yesterday, I usually work out on Saturdays and I wasn't able to because I felt exhausted and I felt like not myself. I felt very tired. So I told myself, no, it's okay. Take a rest day. Like just rest. And I'm glad I did that. And guess what? I didn't feel guilty. I didn't beat myself up. I didn't feel like, oh my God, I didn't reach my goal of 4 days this week. No, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to like push myself like past exhaustion just to meet that goal. And I'm not going to beat myself up for it because I chose my health. And that's okay. And when you do these things and when you celebrate yourself, it becomes so much easier to set those boundaries, not only with others, but with yourself as well. And then you don't feel that guilty feeling and you still feel motivated to keep going the next day, right? So again, these small wins compound, they stack on top of each other until one day you look back and you realize you're like, oh my God, I'm not the same person that I used to be. Like, wow, how much have I grown? And I'm curious, have you guys ever reached a moment in your life where you looked back and you're like, oh my God, I have come so far? Let me know in the comments. So have you guys ever reached a moment in your life where you looked and you said, oh wow, like I'm not the same person I used to be, like I've grown so much? Hi Dee, thank you for joining. 100%. Yep. Definitely. So I love that because in those moments, that like aha moment, like, oh my God, like I did that. Like I can't believe I'm here. Mama said I'm still working on it, but I'm really trying to focus more on myself. Period. I love that. You have to. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So now for part 3, this is going to be a how-to. Part 3 is I'm going to talk about how to practice that self-celebration, but it's also going to be like your homework or your challenge for the week. Okay? So it's a 2-for-1. It's part 3, but it's also your homework or your challenge for yourself for this week. Yeah, I think it's going to be really helpful. It's something that I've been doing. Again, anytime that I share things with you guys, I promise you I have been through it and I have done it. And 9 times out of 10, like the topics that I choose to talk about on the weekly lives are things that not only I've needed to do myself, or sometimes I do it because I want to do it with you guys. Like I want to practice with you guys, because it's one thing to talk about something, but it's another thing to do it and talk about it, right? So yeah, I'm actually excited about this because I feel like it's been so busy this season for me that this is something that I really need to put into action this whole month, like the reflection, the gratitude, and then now this week talking about celebrating the small wins. This is something that I feel really strongly about, and it's something that like I need in my life as well, right? So it's always good to have that reminder and to see other people's perspective as well. Okay, so anyway, sorry, that was a lot of words. So, so I'm gonna share a few simple ways to start celebrating intentionally. Okay, so the first step is to write down 3 wins at the end of each week. And again, you can write these throughout the week. Like, let's say on Monday, you woke up and you ran. You went outside and you ran 2 miles, and that was like a big win for you, right? Jot that down, or in your mind, jot it down, right? And then maybe on Wednesday, you turned in a project at work and it was really successful. And you were like, okay, I did that, right? And then let's say on Friday, you did not want to go to work. I know this week is a holiday, so relax. But let's say that, okay, we're off for the holiday, so let me not use that. Let's just say that you ate all that turkey on Thursday and you were like, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to exercise tomorrow. And then you got up and you exercised. Win, right? So again, it's these small moments that don't seem that big of a deal. Sometimes they even seem like ridiculous to celebrate about, but again, it's different for everyone. If you're someone that you like your sleep and you woke up early to go do something, that's a win, right? If you're someone that has a hard time going to sleep early and you were able to go to sleep early and you got some good rest, that's a win. If you're someone that can't relax, I'm not looking at you, mom, but anyways, if you're someone that has a hard time, figuring out when can I relax? When can I squeeze this time out for myself? When you do it, that's a big win, right? So I want you to write down 3 wins. Not her commenting. She's rolling her eyes at me right now. Sorry, I love you. Just write down 3 wins at the end of your week, right? They don't need to be big. It could be simple, like I rested or I asked for help, right? Because that's also a win. Like if you're someone that wants to get everything done yourself and you finally ask for help, that is such a win, right? So again, it doesn't need to be big. I rested, or I asked for help, or I stayed patient, or I followed through with a goal. And then I want you to share your wins with a friend, someone in your community, or like pick an accountability partner. That could be your friend, that could be your bestie, that could be your sibling, that could be a parent, someone in your family. So pick someone that you can share that win with, because your wins deserve to be witnessed. And when we share our wins, it's almost like we're winning, but now we're sharing that energetic, like, hypeness with other people. It's like you want to infect other people with that, right? Because by you celebrating your win, you can encourage someone to celebrate theirs, right? So share it with one person at least. And then I want that celebration, like I want you to celebrate the effort, not just the outcome. So showing up counts. Progress isn't always visible, so sometimes the win is that you didn't give up, right? Because that could be a win too. Like, I went through this and I did not give up. So, and then I want you to reward yourself in a way that feels aligned and genuine. So it doesn't need to be performative. It doesn't need to be expensive. It's something meaningful. Like it could be, like I said, rest or a walk or a treat for yourself, whether that's like food, a dessert or coffee, a drink, right? Music or something joyful, something that brings you joy. Like Kiara's new Nintendo Switch. Again, the goal isn't to wait until the finish line to be proud. I want you to recognize every step that you took that got you to the finish line, right? Because the whole point to get to the finish line, you need so much motivation and you need it takes a lot of work. So if you encourage yourself by celebrating those small steps that you took to get there, like how much easier is that for you, right? So I want to ask you guys one thing. What's one win that you can celebrate for yourself today, even if it feels tiny? So what's one win you're celebrating today, even if it feels tiny? So for me, I'm trying to think of today. I have one from Friday. I was really excited to watch a movie with the boys. Um and I was so tired from work on Friday, and I was like, nope, I'm still gonna do it. So I made some cookies and some popcorn, and we watched the movie. And that was a big win for me, actually. And then yesterday, my win was I rested. I literally rested the whole day. And then today, we went out. We went out, and we were able to go in the fresh air. We got some food, so that was a really nice one. So what's one win that you can celebrate today, even if it feels tiny? Anyone? Come on, I need one of y'all to share at least. What's one win that you're celebrating for yourself today, even if it feels tiny? Anyone on YouTube want to share? What's one win that you're celebrating today, even if it feels tiny? Oh, no problem. Basically, I was just saying, what's one win that you're celebrating today, even if it feels tiny? So, for example, on Friday, I was really tired, and I still sat down and watched the movie with the boys. I made cookies and popcorn, so that was a big win for me. Yesterday, I rested, so that was a big win. And then today we went out and we got some fresh air and got some food. So that was really nice. So what's something that you're celebrating today, even if it feels tiny? She said, I'm decluttering with Gabi. Oh, that's a big win then. I bet Gabi's super happy about that. Yeah. No, I didn't see your comment, Chi-Chi. I don't know why sometimes TikTok filters comments. So try to like write it in a different way. But I just saw the one that you sent right now. I don't know why. TikTok is interesting. Sorry, Chi-Chi, I did not see it. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing the comment. You can also text it to me, and I'll read it if you want. But while she's doing that, I want to remind you that, you know, these small steps and these small celebrations, they add up. These small wins really do matter, and you deserve to be proud of yourself every step of the way. And I want to remind you that you're doing better than you think, and I want you to let yourself see that. Because it's one thing for me to tell you, oh, you're worthy, oh, you got this, right? But it's another thing for you to show up for yourself and for you to show yourself, like, I am doing that thing. I am worthy, right? All of these small wins, all of these small celebrations that you do for yourself, is building evidence to prove to you that you got this. It proves to you that you're worthy, right? Sorry, Chi-Chi, I'm still not seeing your comment. Let me check here if I see anything on. Yeah, I don't see it. Sorry, Chi-Chi. But again, you're doing better than you think, and I want you to show yourself that. Okay, let me check my text. Okay, Chi-Chi said, or Kiara, sorry, y'all, that's her nickname. She said, my win for today was hanging out with a girl I met at a concert a few weeks ago. Oh my God, I love this. We went to the farmer's market together and it was so much fun. I'm so glad I did it. Chi-Chi, I love that for you. I literally could cry right now because, for context, people, Kiara moved to a different state, and you know she has her man there. She has family that lives semi close, but she hadn't connected with anyone in like a friendship way, and that was like something that she felt was missing. So I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you for like stepping out of your comfort zone and doing that. Oh, yay! I'm so happy for you. Oh my God. Anyways, I'm not gonna get emotional, but anyways. But yeah, I'm so proud of you. And that is a huge win. So yes, celebrate yourself for that. So that's the homework for this week. I want y'all to pick 3 things that happens throughout the week as small celebrations. And at the end of the week, I want you to remind yourself of that. I want you to share it with at least one person in your life. And then I want you to really like relish in it. Like I really want you to be like, oh damn, I did that. Okay? So that's your homework. And then next week, we're going to talk about letting go of what no longer serves us. And I think this is very important because we're going into the new year. We talked about reflection. We talked about gratitude. We talked about celebrating those small wins. And then next week, I want to talk about letting go of what just doesn't serve us anymore so that you can create the space for what's meant for you. Because sometimes we hold on to so many things, and some of those things just are not meant for us to hold on to, right? And if we're holding on to that, we don't leave the space for the things that are meant for us, right? We're too busy holding on to things that we don't need to, that are too heavy for us, right? So I want us to be able to create some space for what's meant for us in the new year. And I really want to talk about finding those things that just no longer serve us, whether it's like a hobby, whether it's like something, a mindset, right? It could be so many things. So join me next Sunday. Of course, I know there's a holiday, so I'm not going to go live until Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, same as today. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Thank you so much for joining the live today and for sharing your comments and being open and transparent with other people too. I appreciate that. Do you guys have any questions before we head out? Again, thank you guys so much. All right, y'all. Well, thank you. Love you guys. I hope you have a great week. And I will see you guys next week. See you.